Hi Jamie and everyone at the American Scottish Foundation. I'm Ian McPhail from Whisky Kiss. We have been very generously given the run of a lovely place called the Argowan Estate on the west coast of Scotland, just round the Clyde from Glasgow. And we're going to play 3 or 4 tunes for you today. And we have Vicky and Rachel from Flings and Things, our champion Highland dancers. So hopefully you're going to enjoy their dancing and enjoy our tunes. Do you know, the first time that Whisky Kiss were really ever put together was in New York, and it was an American Scottish Foundation event where I think Rachel and a lot of champion Highland dancers were over for New York Tartan Week, and so were Whisky Kiss the Ceilidh Band, as it were. And it was Camilla Hellman of the ASF who said, actually, would you guys mind hooking up and maybe putting a show together? And that, from I think 2011, was where everything flourished from that point onwards. So one of the first things we ever did was a routine called Want Love Clueless, the pipe tune, which will be played by recent BBC Young Trad Musician of the Year finalist David Shedden on pipes. The tune is by the great composer Gordon Duncan, and it's called Clueless, and we've given it a wee funky routine. So hope you enjoy it. Over to the band and the girls for Want Love Clueless. Here we go.
We are rolling.
We're rolling. Okay, well, I'm Ian McPhail from Whisky Kiss. This is Rachel McLagan from Flings and Things. We actually first got thrown together and started forming the Whisky Kiss show thanks to the American Scottish Foundation. It would have been, was it
2011?
2011 New York Tartan Week.
Yep.
And it was such a great thing to be hooked up together. But what's your favourite memories in New York?
Oh, there's so many. That year was a really special one for us because I came over with a group called Assemble and Leap, and we were all representing our world governing body, the RSOBHD, and we'd come together for the 60th anniversary and did a big celebration show, and then got some funding from Creative Scotland to come out. So 12 of us came out to New York, and it was total luck that we got put together with you on a gig. And with Whisky Kiss, and it was just great fun. Like the whole week was just great atmosphere. Like every gig you went to, everybody was so friendly, and there was all these sort of just random collaborations that kept happening all over the place, because you just like, it was, I mean, that was what happened with us. We were dancing, you were playing, and went, actually let's try and put this together. And we so we did the sort of garden performances down
near
in
Wall
Lower
Street.
Manhattan, near Wall Street, in the oh, I forget the name of the garden now.
Oh yeah, we can dub that in.
We'll dub that bit. So we down by Wall Street, and then one night you were playing in one of the bars on, I want to say, Stone Street.
That's right.
And we came along and we danced, and it was this tiny little space, and we were all in our like brightly coloured gear and tutus and stuff, and we just sort of threw a routine together. And then the best one was probably the after party at Stout.
Oh, so much fun.
So we did the parade on the Saturday, and it was amazing. The weather was great, the crowds were great, and then we came along, and you had found an amazing team of breakdancers.
Oh they were from Brooklyn. Amazing,
And Ian just said, I've had this idea that might seem a bit off the wall, but why don't you give it a go? So we did this totally impromptu, off the cuff, massive dance off between the squad of break dancers and our 12 Highland dancers, and it's like we were in this kind of downstairs basement bar in Stout, and like it felt like the roof was going to come off the place. It was just
amazing.
Brilliant.
I think like special shout out to Shelley. At the time she was Shelley Chalmers, now Shelley White, who's from Dundee, amazing dancer, and she was part of the troupe. And Shelley threw herself into this dance off so much with like the Brooklyn break dancers, who were going so fast. And we're like, oh, we've got our work cut out here. We need Scotland to beat the rest of the world here. And Shelley actually broke her ankle. She put so much into it. But my favourite moment of that night was she'd just put her foot in an ice pack. Basically, we were saying, Shelley, are you all right? You need to go to hospital. She's like, I'm all right. The only question is, will I get away with my heels up town tonight? And we're like, you can take the girl out of Dundee.
I know, absolutely. never take Dundee out of Shelley. It was great. We had a fantastic squad of dancers out there with us, and it was so brilliant. The opportunities the American Scottish Foundation gave us were just totally out of this world, and it brought us together with you. And then it was a couple of months after we came home, you got in touch and said, actually, there's maybe something in what we were doing out there, and then you and I started talking with Leanne and Shelley as well, and we ended up bringing the kind of Whisky Kiss performance together. So
and a wee special shout out to a guy, Bilal Lusalam, who's from Edinburgh, who's the Scottish equivalent sort of champion break dancer, and he really helped things work, and he's as cheeky as they come, so it keeps it quite lively backstage.
But it's always pretty feisty when we've got Bilal and Uti and Matt and then Brogan and Leanne and Shelley. I'm obviously the polite, quiet, friendly one.
Never a dull moment. No, thanks very much, Rachel, and you must all check out Flings and Things as well. They're on all the socials, and thank you very much to the American Scottish Foundation for bringing all of us together in a team. This next wee track we're going to play is one that we really enjoy playing. The video won the Shortstop International Film Festival Best Music Video. Check it out if you can on YouTube. It's called Open Your Mind by Whisky Kiss. Here we go.
Your mind.
So here we are at Ardgowan House, and we have Whisky Kiss drummer Lawrence Devaney here, who was over with Whisky Kiss last year for New York Tartan Week, played at Bryant Park for the American Scottish Foundation and various other bits. Lawrence, just tell us a wee bit about your experiences with Whisky Kiss in New York.
New York last year was really a highlight of my entire time with Whisky Kiss so far. Marching up the 6th Avenue Parade was a sort of a day we won't forget. It coincided with my first wedding anniversary, so we got to do that on my first anniversary. It's a personal highlight. And we met so many really great people. And we were really well looked after. The gig on Friday night in the Altman building was superb.
The Ceilidh.
The Ceilidh was really well attended as well. It was such a great atmosphere, such a great venue. The parade, as you know, was a huge success, and Bryant Park was pretty special.
It was amazing.
I know that myself and Ian had been looking forward to Bryant Park because it's like our favourite spot in New York City. We got a beautiful sunny day as well.
Yeah, that's what we did.
It was a really it was a sort of surreal experience at first, playing in the middle of the the city like that. But it was beautiful, and it was a beautiful sort of tranquil afternoon.
Yeah,
and I think the American audiences really appreciated it, and they let us know that. We had a great time with the dance troupe as well.
That's right, yeah.
And I mean, the overriding highlight was that we were just looked after really well by you folks, and it was a week to remember. Everything about it was pretty perfect because we love New York, the whole band. I've been there, and it's a place we really enjoy visiting, and we're really looking forward to coming back.
Did you not work over in America during summer camps?
Yeah, I was a counsellor upstate in a wee place called Lake Delaware Boys Camp.
Cool.
So for 6 summers, worked up there, just about 3.5 hours north of the city, and I love it over there. That was my sort of way into America, and met a lot of really close American friends over there that are like family now. Some of them live in New York City, so we got a chance to catch up with them. And it's a beautiful part of the world. Upstate is one of my favourite parts of the world. It's beautiful. Oh well, here's to Tartan Week 2021 and New York Caledonian Club, American Scottish Foundation, and the whole NY Tartan Week shebang. Good stuff. Can't wait to go back. Yeah. Oh, thanks very much, Lawrence. One of the great things that we never ever take for granted as a Ceilidh band is the chance to see amazing places, meet just fantastic people, and make loads of great relationships and have lots of fantastic experiences. And the world really opens up if you've got a bagpipe or an accordion or a drum or a few Highland dance steps. And we absolutely adore coming to New York. We're very honoured to be part of the podcast today as well. And it's amazing that you guys are putting it on. So thanks, Jamie, and all the team in America. One of the things that comes through when you play Ceilidhs is there's always quite a few wee stories. One of the ones about Dave, our piper, fantastic piper as you can guess from his recent BBC Young Trad Musician of the Year final appearance. He made his debut for us in 2014 on the Mullican Tyre, which is where my dad and our side of the family are from. And this was an amazing big house. It was a July gig, which means if you know Scotland and the West Coast, there were a lot of midges.
and Dave was really keen to impress on his first ever gig. He was like, oh, I'll get there early, but he actually got early to the wrong house. So it was, and the gig we were meant to be playing at was actually for the editor of the Times newspaper, who was up from London. It's a woman. She has a place in the Mull of Kintyre, and so Dave's standing in the wrong house saying, "Hello, I'm here for a party," and they're saying, "No, there's no party here, pal." So false start for young Dave Shedden, but he popped next door, which is about 3 miles away on that road, and he eventually found us, and he was a wee bit just wanting to catch up. He didn't want to be late and so on, and the hostess, the editor of the Times, met him and said, "Oh, you must be the piper, you're wearing a kilt." He said, I am. Where are the rest of the band?" She said, "Oh, they're out the back, they've only just arrived, you're fine." And Dave didn't know who she was, so he said, what is it you do out of interest? And she said, "Well, actually I'm the editor of the Times." And Dave thought she meant like the local paper, like maybe the Kilberry Times or the Tarbert Times, and so he went into full patronising mode. It was like, so what do you do yourself? And she's saying, "I'm the editor of the Times." And he's like, "I think that's brilliant that you give something back to the community like that. I really admire what you do. I'm sure everyone does." And she's sitting there, part of the Murdoch Empire, going, "No, not everyone's as generous as you." But poor Dave, that was his debut. And to top it off, my dad, who's the Queen's accordionist, he was playing with us that night, and he set up a thing where he's got a massive light, and then it's attached to a fan. And Dave was like, "What's that?" So that's local knowledge, watch this. And the light went on and it was so bright it attracts all the midges, and the fan then blows them over that direction. But unfortunately Dave, being really polite, was in that direction and he had his kilt on, so the next morning his knees were like the knees of a 95-year-old man, pockmarked to smithereens with minchie bites. But anyway, so that was Dave's debut. This next wee track we're going to play is one that we really enjoy. 1, 2, 3. One of the things that we've found with Whisky Kiss is there's a really burgeoning scene for traditional music as well as traditional dance, but putting a contemporary twist on it. And I know that's something that Vicky and Rachel here have been doing a lot of on the dancing side. So do you want to tell us a wee bit about how things are in the Highland dance world?
Yeah, sure. So we both competed from really, really young ages. I think I started at about 4? And what were you?
I was maybe about 8.
Yeah.
A wee bit later, yeah.
Yeah, so we both, we did competitive Highland all our lives, and it's really structured and really kind of rigid in terms of how the steps are laid down. So what we always try and do with when we're choreographing for Whisky Kiss or with for flings and things routines is to try and still sort of stay true to the Highland roots,
Yep.
but bring in like other influences, and like Vicky's great with that because we've got your Gamta training. And
Yeah, I've done quite a lot of musical theatre and performance, so a lot of that's
Oh,
good
yeah.
to find a contrast between some things that are quite rigid and still and disciplined in Highland, and then finding a kind of a more lively, like eye-catchingly pleasing side of it. As such.
Yeah, it's trying. I mean, because we're always in Highland as well. You think you're, like everybody, you're trying to encourage people to get involved, and then you're up against the sort of the strictly take on ballroom and Latin and street
Yeah.
dance and hip hop and all these kind of big flashy performance,
catch your eye
dance
straight away.
forms. Yeah, so
yeah.
I think we kind of see what we do with Whisky Kiss and choreography as an opportunity to just be a bit more kind of, I don't know, free and creative with what we're doing, and try and show the different dimensions that exist within
yeah.
Highland, and put a bit more a kind of modern spin on it that might catch somebody's attention.
Yeah, it's good because you get loads of different categories of dance, and I feel like depending on the type of music we've got, a lot of the times we can nitpick from different styles and steal wee bits and try and see how we can work it in a Highland twist, which is quite fun.
That's often how it would have been, I guess, over the years. Although it's traditional to us now, it had to start somewhere, and it was probably modern at the time it started.
And if you look back through, a lot of the traditional Highland movements, and particularly in our Scottish national dances, there's a heavy influence from ballet. And if you look at Irish as well, there are a lot of similarities in some of the movements, between Highland dancing and Irish dancing. So they've all kind of evolved from the same roots, particularly the Celtic art forms.
Yeah.
So it's just about, out with competition, looking to see how we can keep evolving that. And that's, the Whisky Kiss music's great for it because you've got, the traditional pieces, but you've got, the kind of dance sets in the background. So it gives us loads of really interesting rhythms to play with, and you can just be super creative and no boundaries. It's great.
Oh, brilliant. I mean, one of the things I've learned from you over the years is that Highland dancing actually is a sport rather than a dance form, technically. And we see that coming through when it's the dance-offs of dancers versus break dancers. The boys haven't got an earthly, to be perfectly honest. They never win.
It's all that the canvassing of the crowd beforehand really helps us there. But it helps when we're instructing them on the Ceilidh dances as well, because you get them on side. But I mean the break dancers are so athletic, so you do have to up your game a bit. But that's something that through the competitive Highland, isn't it? We're always really trying to emphasise and let people see how athletic it is. The dancer, especially these days, the dancers that are training for competitions and world championship level competition, they train the way a full-time athlete would train, and it's so physically demanding at that level that it is. There's no two ways about it. It is a sport. It has the same demands on your body, but it's great in that it has that creative side of it as well. Yeah. So it's a bit of best of both.
And am I right in thinking that you were on the front of the Daily Record and the New York Times or something a couple of New York Tartan weeks ago? Right?
I'm trying. We've made a few papers at different times. Some, not always the most flattering photos. I think there's always the one where you like go, oh.
Oh, am I allowed to mention the one in the Glasgow Herald before we went over to New York one time? It was just really unfortunate juxtaposing, and I might drop it in as a picture here. But the story right underneath, Rachel was doing the splits with Lisa Walker, and the headline underneath was "Beavers have been re-released into the Tay Valley."
I think it was actually illegal beaver.
Illegal beavers, that's the one. It was someone in the sub-editor desk was having a fun day.
Absolutely, my parents were so proud.
We found that sub-editor, and he'll not be writing that anymore.
Anyway, your kitchen wall,
that's it in a frame. So we do. We've got I've got framed photographs from parading down 6th Avenue, and
they're amazing shots.
There's so many. There's great shots of all the girls of Brogan and Leanne, and I'm sure there's good ones of you and Nicola leaping about the place as well. We pop up in the strangest of places.
Yeah.
Just when you think you're safe from a photographer, there's always one somewhere.
It's always like months later as well when you think, okay, that's all the photos done.
Yeah, I know. And then you see one that just
there's a lurker.
Caught you. But no, it's great. You know, we're really lucky to get to do what we do and to get the chance to work with the organisations like the American Scottish Foundation, the bands, you know, like yourselves. You know, our relationship with Whisky Kiss has brought us so many opportunities, and it's always great fun, and it's given us such a good kind of springboard and creative outlet to keep doing what we can to promote Highland dancing. So
magic. Oh, you're absolutely amazing representatives, and you do Highland dancing proud all over the world. So yeah, thanks very much to Vicky and to Rachel.
Thank you.
And to the American Scottish Foundation. Cheers.
Thanks for having us.
I'm here with Floyd Spaniel and Lauren Devaney, who is the events manager here at this amazing place, Ardgowan House. It has been great to host us today. Thank you so much for doing that. I don't know if you want to let everyone at the American Scottish Foundation know just a wee bit about this wonderful house, the estate, and the kind of events that go on here.
Of course. So Ardgowan House has been a private family home since it was built over 200 years ago, and more recently it has been open to the public. So celebrations that can take place here could be weddings. It's quite popular for weddings, as well as celebrations, christenings, baptisms, naming days, baby showers, getaways with friends.
Ah, cool. It's an amazing location. I mean, it's we were just on the Clyde estuary here as well. Amazing views over to Rothsay and so on. Is that right?
Yep. So there's sea views from the bedrooms at the top floor of the house.
Oh wow!
And there's a short walk right onto the beach.
Wow, no way. So just down.
Yep. Past
down
the
the
castle tower.
Oh wow!
And onto the beach.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much to yourself and Ludo and everyone here at Ardgowan House for hosting us today. And then we'll finish with Staying Alive. Thanks so much for having us. Hope you've enjoyed it. Cheers.
Get real with the fever on the dance floor. Disco, I can flip so say ho, ho.